Welcome, folks, to the podcast. First off, I want to give a big thanks to the Weekly Bean and Harlan Lessick. They've been supporting me since almost the beginning of this. Had Harlan on a few weeks ago, and his podcast was unreal. He played hockey down in South Africa, so if you haven't listened to it, you should give it a listen. But they've been putting, every Wednesday we release an episode, and they've been putting it in their paper. So you can find that in Lloydminster, Kindersley, and Moose Jaw. Second off, I'm trying to do I've been trying to do shout-outs in the middle of episodes, and it hasn't been flowing that well, mainly because I get wrapped up in the conversation and forget about it. So I thought I'd do my shout-outs before I start the episode. So this week, I want to give Mike Applegate a shout-out. I didn't even know you could do it, but on the Anchor app, you can record a voice message. So he sent me one, just said, keep up the excellent job, that he was enjoying the podcast. So thanks, Mike. I haven't seen you in forever, but I appreciate the feedback, appreciate you listening. And then Big Daddy 49 wrote me a review on iTunes, and he just said he looks forward to listening each week. I have no idea who you are, but I appreciate the feedback. If you haven't subscribed, you can subscribe on a bunch of different podcasting platforms. Whichever one you do, just search Shaun Newman Podcast and click the subscribe button. You'll get updated every Wednesday. Like I say, we do a new episode. If you're on social media, take a look on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Anything you see on there, just once again search Shaun Newman Podcast, and like and share. And any of your guys' positive feedback, I'll try and give you a shout out on here. I really appreciate it. It makes this a lot of fun. And then finally, this week coming up, we have Colin Cowboy Senkow, an Alberta boy who played his junior A out in Dryden, Ontario. He was the first captain I ever had. We'll get into a little bit of that. He then came back to Calgary, where he's been a firefighter now for 11 plus years. He's married. He just had his first kid in December. And then, of course, he played in the World Police and Fire Games, winning a bronze, a silver, and the beloved gold over the Russians. So let's get at her.
Hello, Newman.
Welcome to the Shaun Newman Podcast. Across from me, I have Colin Cowboy Senkow. He was my first captain in Dryden, and I'm excited to have you across from me because you're kind of a character, and I got talking to a couple of the boys from back in the day, and hopefully we can share some of those stories. They're pretty good.
I've got a face for the radio here, Newman, so I'm very much looking forward to this. Thank you.
Your wife would maybe say a little different.
To all the boys listening, this is going to be a treat.
So I got to start with driving here to Calgary. We're doing this in Calgary, and along the way, I'm listening to the Columbus-Tampa game. And if you don't follow the NHL, well, Tampa's like the perennial powerhouse. Everybody picked them to win the Stanley Cup, and they just got swept 4 games straight.
My goodness, ridiculous! I can't believe it. Top of the league, President's Trophy, and swept. Columbus finally came through, won a series. It's wow.
First series in franchise history.
Yeah.
Right? That cannon going off.
Yikes. Yeah, Matt Duchene's probably happy about that trade now, I'm sure.
No kidding, right?
Yeah, Panarin, Bobrovsky. Yeah, I'll stay here for right now.
Well, actually, that's what I was thinking on the way here. I'm wondering if Panarin's like, you know what, that was kind of fun. Maybe I will give it another kick the can here, right? Because he talks.
Will they sign the 7-8 year contract though? Maybe.
I don't know. Panarin's
depends how far they go.
Good.
Tortorella's loving it though right now.
There's a guy.
The old Torts.
There's a guy that when he got signed there, what was that? 2 years ago?
Yeah, probably about that.
I went, why the heck are you signing Tortorella? He just come off the brawl in Calgary and all that.
Yeah,
with
Vancouver and everything. Yeah, you want this guy? He's cuckoo. Yeah.
But man, has he whipped him into shape?
Oh yeah.
Like, holy crap.
There's not very many coaches bred like that, and I believe your last week's guest is cut from the same cloth as Mr. Tortorella, if I might say so myself, Mr. Wintoniak.
Larry Wintoniak, yeah. Right? I'm sure he enjoys Tortorella.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, nothing like a good charge down the hallway at the other team's best player, coach, whatever. Oh, my goodness. So many good memories.
Oh, and while we're talking about it, the Islanders just swept the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Yep. Just saw that one, too.
Right? Like, what I was saying in this off air, like, it's cool to watch upsets happen. It's probably even better to watch teams that normally don't win. And then coming from the Oilers fan base, like, you just know the Islanders fans are losing their absolute crap right now. Columbus is losing their absolute crap right now. They're going to the second round for the first time in a long time. Mm-hmm. And for the Islanders, no Tavares, right? Well, that didn't stop them,
they
right?
don't need him. Yeah. Wow. Barzell, Eberle, they got some good
Jordan
players
Eberle.
there, yeah.
He's a fantastic player, eh?
Oh, Saskatchewan boy.
I should point out that Cowboy is a proud Oiler fan living in probably the most hostile environment
enemy
ever.
territory.
And I should point out we're sipping on a little rum tonight. That's been the drink of choice.
Yes,
He's
sir.
got a little lime in it. I'm not sure if I love the lime, but
Next round. I'll take it out for you. That's fine.
So I like to go back to the beginning. And you're originally from Edmonton, Alberta, but you said you grew up in Spruce Grove?
Yes,
Spruce
correct.
Grove.
Yep.
And so that's where you get your start playing hockey?
Yeah, that's where I started playing hockey on an outdoor rink. I remember watching my oldest brother playing hockey on the outdoor rink, and then when it was time for me to start skating and get into organized hockey, that's where I started as well, too. So pretty cool.
And you're a family of five?
5 kids. Yeah.
5 kids.
Yeah.
But a middle child. I was five kids as well, but
Explains
I was the youngest.
a lot.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You get away with a lot, I'm sure. I got blamed for everything.
You learn how to squeal the proper way.
Oof, tell me about it.
I got two kids right now. A boy who just turned 3.
Yeah.
A little girl who turns 2 in July. And I think my wife has told her family now, so I can announce it. We're having a 3rd in October, so big shocker there.
Attaboy.
3 under 4.
The Newman clan.
Yeah, I might be a little insane. I'm not sure. But I catch the little girl now. She understands that she can blame Shay, my boy, for just about anything. And if you're not paying attention, right, you can't see him. She'll scream bloody murder, and you walk around, and you got to give Shay crap, right? He's the older one. And
you should know better. What's your problem? What are you doing?
Except now I've actually caught her. Like, she doesn't realize there's a monitor in the bedroom, right? And so you can actually catch her, like, red-handed. Like, she's screaming, and he's just staring at her, and you're like, oh. She's playing me already, right?
They start so young.
So young.
Oh, I'm in trouble with my firstborn daughter. Oh, here we go.
Well, and how are you enjoying fatherhood?
I'm loving it very much.
Yeah?
My wife is looking at me right now, but I'm proud to say I love it very much.
Well, you're first in December, correct?
Yes, December 29th. Ayla.
So it's nice and fresh.
You betcha. Nice and fresh.
She at least sleeping through the night for you?
She's sleeping 7-8 hours through the night. We have some good nights. We have some bad nights still. Little growth spurts here or there. But we're taking it in stride. But lots of fun.
Oh, fatherhood is a blast.
You betcha.
Yeah. Okay, well, back to hockey. So you got 5 siblings. So you're the 3rd. Like, is there a big age difference between you and your oldest, or are you guys all tight?
We're all 2 years apart. So my oldest brother is 4 years older than me. Then my sister is 2 years older than me. I have a 2-year younger brother and a 4-year younger brother.
Holy man,
as well. So
that's calculated.
Mom and Dad planned it right out.
And your dad shoots straight and true to be able to pull that off.
Apparently, yeah.
Right?
Have sex 5 times, 5 kids. Bada bing, bada boom. There you go. Sorry, Dad.
So when you're starting out in hockey, do you remember like now they got like all these things, right? Like in Lloyd, and I'm sure Calgary is giant compared to Lloyd, right? They got like initiation. Is it
initiation as a 5-year?
No, initiation to hockey. Right? And they got all these things that are like stepping stones until you get into like minor hockey.
Right. I don't remember that as a young.
I don't remember that either. Nope. And we're similar timelines.
It was if you were the right age to fit into the group, you went with the group, and then the coach was kind of in charge of the team and the skills, and you had some very skilled players, you had some not so skilled players. Everybody sort of rotated through goaltender, so to speak. Did you ever want to be goaltender? No. I think I'd like blocking shots, just like you. I think goaltender? No way, Jose. Rule number 1 in the house was never be a goaltender. Rule number 2, never be a drummer in a band. So, thanks for those life lessons, Dad. Appreciate it.
Oh God! And so you started playing minor hockey then in
Spruce Grove.
Spruce Grove?
Yeah, Spruce Grove minor hockey.
How
Home,
many-
home of Grant Fier, all that kind of fun stuff. So we had
yeah.
the Grant Fier Memorial Arena through the heydays of the Oilers, all that fun stuff. Yeah.
So you grew up being an Oiler fan. It must
Always.
pain you like to no end what's going on in Edmonton right now.
We'll talk about that later on once I have a couple more runs. Frustrating, yes. But I'm still a fan.
Does the Calgary Flames losing the other night just help you out a little bit?
It felt really good watching that with a bunch of my colleagues at work. Yes, it was very nice. Yeah. Just quiets them up just that much more. Problem is I live in a house where there's a Flames fan, so I have to be careful when I come home. But Flames. Psh.
So how many years do you play in Spruce? What? Because you say you go to Grand Prairie at an age.
We moved to Grand Prairie in 1993. My bad. So I would have been, like 7 or 8 by the time we moved. So I think just past Adams or just in Adams, starting Adam age in
when you were in Grand Prairie.
Yeah, when we moved to Grand Prairie. So I played the whatever the equivalent of Timbits was back in the day. Because we didn't have Timbits back
Tom
in the day.
Thumb is what we call it in
There
Saskatchewan.
we go. Yeah, I think it was Tom Thumb. You're right.
Bullshit. And
Yeah,
I thought that was only a Saskatchewan thing.
No, I think that was. Well, there's a lot of Saskatchewan people in Alberta now too,
True.
right? So
I miss Tom Thumb. They got to call it some, and now you can't call it midget anymore either,
no,
right?
thank God it's not like swimming, right? Don't they have like salamander and all those kind of like
goldfish, right?
Jeez.
Orca whale.
Killer whale. Oh, okay. You're just a slug. We're just gonna keep you off on the side. No swimming for you.
My brothers used to call me the tugboat in water. I just pushed water. I didn't really go anywhere.
Poor brother. Jeez.
So you start out playing in Spruce Grove. Do you remember like how many times you're on the ice? Anything like that? Like I was talking to Brad Cruikshank. He grew up in Kelowna, and he always talked about like being on ice a ton with like on the ponds and stuff like that, right? And
how many times a week on the ice, like playing as a kid?
And as a kid, you don't remember that kind of stuff. But I just remember my parents specifically, like growing up, we grew up in a small town, Saskatchewan, and they at any point had an outdoor rink, took us down to the local rink. My dad used to flood the local rink, so we used to go skating on it all the time. And I just heard like a cool story about a small town where they keep the rink open all the time, but lock up the concession and any valuables, right? Yeah. But as long as you have a helmet, you can go skating as long as there's no practice going on.
That's pretty neat.
You want to get kids into the game, man.
Creative, yeah.
Well, hockey's an expensive sport, right?
Very much, yeah.
And so
practice time is a premium for them. You want to entice the creativity and the
so
kids and everything.
I talked to a Shanker, who's out of Kelowna. He played pro and stuff like that. He played very good hockey. And he said he skated a ton on the ponds there, and that's where he learned. Yeah. And you'd mentioned that you started in Spruce, so I was just wondering, were you on the ice a lot, or was it something that just kind of slowly came to you?
No, it was, it was 2 or 3 times a week. I'm sure we were on the ice. There was the outdoor rink we were allowed to access throughout the week, but with such a large family, I know it was harder to get out there and go. We never had a rink in our backyard. It was always just mom and dad, or we'd play a lot of street hockey, right? I remember a lot of that as a kid, and it was
miss street hockey.
Oh yeah, up and down the street, all the neighborhood kids out, so you didn't really need skates. You could do it whenever you wanted to. Lots of homemade videos of that with all age ranges of kids, and then the dads join in and you put the youngest in net, right? I'm sure you know what that's like. Hey, Shaun, you're in net again. Dang it.
On the farm growing up, we didn't have street hockey because roads and the next neighbor was like a mile. Yeah. But I grew up in a family of 5, so we played street hockey in the living room.
Oh.
And, I mean, the amount of times we broke the chandelier, I don't know how my mom still has hair.
Your poor parents.
Oh, absolutely, right? We had this beautiful piano, and it was the perfect net, though, right? Like it had posts and a crossbar.
That's awesome.
And now you look at it, and it's got stick marks like everywhere on it.
The slash marks
everywhere?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It got competitive.
No brother put another brother through like the front window or anything like that? Broken windows, anything like that?
I don't think there's any broken windows. We broke the piano several times. We used to play sort of form of baseball out in the yard. We broke windows that way, I believe. My oldest brother, Mom used to come screaming out of the house at us. Oh, man. I mean, 5 kids is what you do. You get creative out in the yard. Right?
Oh, yeah.
And being on the farm, we didn't have neighbors that were right beside us.
You all entertained each other and did things together, right?
Yeah. So
I know what it's like.
You going to have more than one kid?
We'd like to. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Gotta wait for this period to kind of subside and end, and then we'll have that conversation. But we'd like to have more children.
That's what I said after our first, and we had Irish twins. We had them 14 months apart.
Pitter patter, let's get at her. You have 5 more minutes to wrap this up, Newman, and then my wife and I have some plans. So,
for all you not here, Jen's sitting staring at us, going, "You guys are idiots."
Yeah, we are complete idiots.
So let's talk about Grand Prairie then. You guys moved to Grand Prairie?
Yeah, relocated up to Grand Prairie in 93. It would have been. The whole family moved up there.
You remember what took you up there?
My dad got transferred with, he was working with Home Hardware at the time, so he took over the Home Hardware up in Grand Prairie. Mom was a nurse, so she was easily transferable from the Misericordia Hospital in Edmonton up to the Grand Prairie Hospital. So all of us packed up and headed north before the big oil boom, so to speak, in GP. So lived there for another 8 years. Yeah.
What was Grand Prairie like back then?
It was 5 hours away from any good quality hockey, so to speak. It was every weekend. It was Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We were gone because I remember getting there and it was Adam. And then I played my Pee-wee there. I moved away for a year of midget, moved away for a year of bantam, came back for the rest of my bantam. And every other team in our league was near Edmonton for the most part in Alberta, right? That's where we had to go for our games. So it was a 5-hour bus ride every single weekend, all the way down for games, then all the way back, or they'd be coming to us. So
who was all in that league?
So like
A
and BHL, like in the Bantam League. So it would have been like Grand Prairie, Fort Mac would have been the 2 northern teams, and then you have Fort Saskatchewan. Then you have.
Did you play Lloyd back in the day?
I think Lloyd might have been in the league then.
Because by the time I got to Pee-wee and Bantam, we traveled to Grand Prairie, Peace River, Fort Mac, Fort St. John.
Yep.
Like
I remember like Adam and Pee-wee, Fort St. John, Dawson Creek, Grand Cache, all those northern spots. Yeah, that's where lots of road trips out there into the middle of nowhere. But come rep hockey, when it was the best of the best, so to speak, it was always Grand Prairie, driving to Edmonton or farther south, right, all the way to Medicine Hat, Lethbridge, or to Fort Mac. So road trips galore on the bus, 5+ hours all the time. You know,
when the Humboldt crash happened, that's all I could think about was back then, right? Or even when we go to Dryden, right? When like the road trips you'd take.
Fort St. John Fort Francis.
Francis, Thunder Bay.
Yep.
You were gone, but we used to go to Marathon. I remember like some trips through those.
We'd go down to Duluth and stuff like that too. Some of those places down in the States, those are treacherous roads.
Yeah, right. And we always say, shout out to all the bus drivers out there, because there are some exceptional. You betcha. Yeah, Otto was the man, right?
You betcha. Yeah. Day in, day out. Day in, day out, they'd be driving down there and watching the games, cheering us on, and then hopping back on the bus. And we clipped a few deer every once in a while, right?
Yeah,
remember seeing deer fly by the window, but thank goodness we never hit any moose, because that would ruin the bus. Be unfortunate. Road trips.
So back in Pee-wee, when you're in Grand Prairie, there would have been hitting back then, right?
Oh, yes, sir. You betcha.
Now there's no hitting in Pee-wee.
No. Yeah, they're starting it up in Bantam now, right?
Yeah, well...
ridiculous.
What's your thoughts on that?
Not a fan. I think proper. Granted, puberty hits everybody at different ages, so to speak. It hit you when you were 18. I know, Shaun. So.
I've been the same height since I was like 14. I haven't grown a dang.
I would go with the older school thought that it's better and safer to start the kids at a younger age with the proper hitting techniques and learning, how to properly angle people and hit them up against the boards, not within the 3 feet for the hitting from behind. I think you start at that older age, you're running into those teenage years where kids just want to be complete idiots and hurt each other, and more accident. I'm sure I don't have the stats looking at them in front of me, whether it's helping out the concussions and all that stuff, but I always figure you start them younger, it always seems to help out, right? You start them later on, they don't get the concepts, and then you have that very wide gap between the ones that get it and the ones that don't, and yeah, bad. So bad.
Shanker told me, I keep referring to Shanker, he was about 3 episodes before, he's Kelowna, BC, and he said back when he was growing up, and he'd be older than both of us, they had no hitting in Pee Wee. And he said they used to come to Alberta tournaments and there'd be hitting, and they said they loved it. And I said, well, like, what's your school thought? And he didn't mind it, right?
Yeah.
The thing I think I see coming for hockey is I think hitting is just going, I think they're going to get rid of fighting, and then I think slowly behind it, or quickly behind it, the hitting is going to, not rubbing out and stuff, but I think open ice hitting is going to, I don't see how they can keep having issues with, you talk about ways to accept hits and stuff like that.
I think you'll always have hitting in the game. I remember playing midget AAA here in Calgary with the Northwest Calgary Flames, and we played tune-up games against the Canadian women's national team before they went to the Olympics. It would have been the 2002 Salt Lake City Olympics when they won gold.
Yeah.
So we played tune-up games against them. They played a bunch of the Calgary teams. There's 4 Calgary teams here, so they played exhibition games against us. And I remember them telling us before the game that there was going to be no hitting whatsoever. And I've never been hit so hard by Cassie Campbell, by Haley Wickenheiser, and like dirty. Like, granted, they were like in their 20s, some of them maybe even in their 30s, and were 17 and 18-year-old kids playing midget AAA, used to hitting, and then they tell us, yeah, there's no hitting, anything like that, and you're getting rubbed out, cross-checked, and just dirty play. I think it's always going to be there, right?
Well, no.
Because there's no hitting in female hockey, and there clearly is.
I never said there was going to be no hitting. I think they're going to try and take away all the big hits.
Right. Well, yeah, they already have, the head hits and stuff like that. Poor Don Cherry doesn't have a Rock'em Sock'em video with nearly as many hits nowadays.
You watch a game, and case in point, Carolina the other night, where the guy hits him, and it's like shoulder, maybe there's a little head graze.
That was Furlan, Michael Furlan.
That's right. And the guy goes down, they call him a 5-minute major, right?
Yep.
Booted from the game, and then everybody watches it and goes,
oh, wait a second.
Geez, that I don't know. Is that a hit to the head? Right? Like, doesn't look like it, but nobody can tell what it is anymore.
His hip hit him first, and his head was just. See, that's the problem with people not being able to, like, not putting themselves in a proper position with all the hits or not the concussion stuff that's out there right now, and everybody's reaching for the puck like forward, leaning their head in. So the first point of contact is always going to be the head, so to speak. So how do you stop somebody then? Because everybody's always trying to look for that next edge to get the puck, to get their shot off fast enough to score that goal, right? I mean, so when they're leaning in there, how do you stop them? I mean, if you don't get the puck away, it's either the puck or the man, right? As a defenseman, you know that puck or the man. And if you can't get the puck, you're taking that man. Am I supposed to just hold on to him then? Like, oh, sorry, touch, like flag football.
I've hit a sour spot. I enjoy this.
God, bullshit. Can I swear?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Oh, well, I got to apologize to my mother because I'll receive a phone call. I'm sure she does not like the swearing. I apologize, Mom, but sometimes it just needs to be
I think you need a swear jar. That's what you need.
Oh, that's not bad. That's a bad idea.
You put that in the old box, and when you're going around seeing the boys.
What do I do with the money, though?
Donate it to charity. Come on.
Oh, yeah, that's good. That's
right?
good.
I mean, it could go to beer money or something like that.
But I'm a grown-ass man. I got...
Charity.
Yeah.
The Shaun Newman charity. You're going to need hair follicles after that third kid comes out. So.
Let's not go. Who am I kidding? I'm excited. My wife's going to be... She was going down the kid road to hop to a completely different subject for 2 seconds. When we get pregnant, or she's pregnant, not we. When she's pregnant, I'm like a little kid with a secret that I just want to blurt out to the world. Right?
Yeah.
You feed me.
You already did.
That's right. You feed me a few rums, and I'm just like telling everybody, right? But I'm excited about it. I'm excited to have a third.
Heck yeah.
Right? Like, I can see 5 years from now, it's going to be like this
That was a bad idea. Whoopsies. Well, can't take that one back now, can we?
But no,
good tangent.
Going back to the hitting thing, I don't think hitting's ever going to go out of the game. It's too competitive, fast. It's not built where you're on the opposite sides and you can't touch each other, right?
Right.
No, you're going to touch each other. You're going to rub each other out. I just think where it's leading is they're going to try and get. Well, they've already tried getting rid of as much fighting as humanly possible.
Yeah.
Case in point, Ovechkin.
It's the head stuff. Yeah.
Ovechkin the other night gets challenged, drops mitts. Have you ever seen Ovechkin drop the mitts?
Yeah. No. Yeah. I think they said his last fight was 2010.
Holy crap! I mean, it's a young kid.
I don't think anybody told that 19-year-old how to put his hands up and protect himself. So. That was a couple.
And he
couple
eats
good
it
cracks.
on the chin, man, and drops him, right? And that's what they're trying to get away. And it just keeps, every time that happens, the social media and the television and PBR and
everybody
PBR,
sees that.
Everybody sees it and replays it in slow-mo and sees how he ran.
Yeah,
and
how the helmet falls off and how the head hits the boards,
right.
like DeBrusque getting hit there.
That's right.
DeBrusque or Krug.
DeBrusque is the one who
no, he took the
hit.
Yeah, I think it was Krug. Krug took the hit though. And same game earlier on. Didn't Krug take a hit along the boards?
Crap, I don't know.
Whatever.
Yeah.
And he stumbled off because he's got concussion history
now.
and all that stuff. So anyway, yeah, I think you are right that the bigger hits have gone out of the way. You don't see the Scott Stevens guys lining, the defenseman lining up the open ice hits, the cutting across the middle of the ice. You can't,
because even if it's the cleanest hit in the world,
yep.
and you drop a guy, then they call him a defenseless player.
Yep.
So now it reminds me of
even the hip checks are gone too when you're not even near
I still pull off hip checks in senior hockey.
I love a good hip check.
Nobody enjoys it though. I actually had DJ King.
Oh yeah.
He's playing a Meadow against us this year in playoffs, and he used to play for Washington and St. Louis. And I hip checked him, and he was not happy about that. Not happy, but I'm like, it's a hockey play, right? It's I'm a 5'7" defenseman. That's
how am I supposed to stop you?
That's right. I got the hip check. Got 100-pound hips for a reason, folks. Like, come on.
This game, love this game. I don't want them to change it, but you're right. It's changing in that direction. No more big hits and the fighting, unfortunately. Yeah.
Well, every time it happens, they have there's video of it now of what happens when it happens, right? And I'm not saying I need to see 12 fights. We went through an era where, you were hoping for it to pull this way, right? Because we were down the road. We'll get to Dryden in the bench clearing brawl, but we've been through some things that, at the time you go like, man, it'd be nice if they clean that up a little bit.
Yeah.
Now with cleaning it up, they've almost gone so far to the one side that
it's changing the game where you're getting rid of those
hockey plays.
Those types of players though too, right?
Yeah.
That made hockey so much fun to watch, right?
Well, on the playoff player, right? Like, you watch Tampa play, and they're playing a team that has a bunch of playoff players.
Oh yeah,
right. That are built for
a
7-game series. They come in, rough up the star players.
You wonder why Vegas was so good. I mean, they had the 3 second lines. They didn't have like a top line you needed to shut down. They had like those nitty gritty middle of the pack guys from all the teams that they brought together, and the guys were like, let's do something special, and they crushed the league last year. It was incredible, and they're doing it again this year. They're doing a great job. So,
oh man, they just thumped San Jose 5-1. Right? I wish Edmonton had that team right now.
Yeah, me too.
Right? Like, it'd be fun to watch some playoff hockey.
They should just do like a lottery every single year. Not the draft lottery that Edmonton seems to win every year, but like an expansion lottery where everybody gets to pick their own team.
I wonder
start all over again.
What Vegas odds have the Oilers at winning the lottery this year, right? Even if it's like they should only win
2021 will make the playoffs, I'm
That's
sure.
Right.
Oh my goodness. What else you got?
Well, so you play your Pee Wee and Bantam.
Holy shit, we're only at Pee Wee. Oh my god.
You go back to your Pee Wee Bantam in Grand Prairie, right? So you play your Pee Wee Bantam there, and then you hop to Calgary Midget AAA. Did your family move to Calgary?
Yeah, we moved down to Calgary.
Oh, you did move to Calgary.
Yeah, so back up a little bit there. When I was in Bantam, when I started Bantam, there was no Bantam AAA up in Grand Prairie. So I actually moved away from home as a 14-year-old and moved back to Spruce Grove because Spruce Grove had a Bantam AAA team in the league then. So I lived with some family friends that for a year, made the team, And that was my 15-year-old, my first year of bantam.
Well, let's go down that road for a little bit. What was it like moving away from home at 14? I mean, you get to move in with friends and family.
Yeah,
right?
family, friends, great family, friends. Thank you very much to the Gardner family, by the way. Love you guys very much for that. Awesome. So Bantam AAA, the Spruce Grove Broncos was our team name, and Charlie Huddy's son was actually on the team. Ryan Huddy played with him there. Good team. We made the playoffs. We were eliminated in, I think, the second round, something like that. But that opened up my eyes to like the real rep hockey, the AAA hockey, traveling all around Southern Alberta, some big tournaments. We went out to Vancouver for one, and Kamloops for the Kibit tournament, I think it was. That was a big one.
Okay.
At the time, did pretty good out there. It was, and then that's where I finally started the summertime hockey. I wasn't playing any summertime hockey and thinking about the Bantam draft or anything like that. Whether you go the WHL route or you go the AHL, or sorry, the Junior A route, right? Which way are you going to go? It's like, holy cow, I'm only 14 years old, right? But
so it
was interesting.
So you're billeting at 14.
Yeah.
This is something that I went and tried out for when I would have been 14. I went and tried out for Strathcona when they had a team. And I didn't make it. I got sent home. But at the same time, I remember thinking as a 14-year-old kid, I'm like, man, I can't imagine living away from my family and parents and everything else, right? You get so accustomed to being under mom and dad's roof, right? And then somebody else's rules and school in a different... right, like in a completely different school, right? Like
it was kind of neat moving. It was kind of neat moving back for myself though, back to Spruce Grove, because all those friends I had left when I moved away in grade 3 in 1993, I got to see them all again, as we're all teenagers now. So a bunch of friends that I had back then. So it was maybe
a little more easy of a transition.
And I think that's what put my parents at ease, and it also put me at ease. I didn't know it all at the time, but when I finally got to school, I was like, oh, okay, this is kind of cool. And then you're the king of the castle as far as I'm playing Bantam AAA in the school, and nobody else is.
And
it's
that
like,
never went to your head at all.
No, never. Yeah, never. Not at all. That year was a lot of fun, but the following season, Grand Prairie ended up getting like an expansion team or whatever in the league. They finally got accepted, so I moved back home to Grand Prairie for my second year of midget and played midget AAA there. That was a little different because
second year midget or second year bantam?
Sorry, second year bantam. I apologize. Bantam, yes,
yeah.
Thank you. Second year bantam. All my midget was in Calgary, so my second year bantam was back in.
How was that bouncing from school to school like that? Was it seamless?
That was a little bit tougher because then I was going that was grade 10. So grade 9 was my first year of bantam.
Yeah.
And then I was going to my first year of high school in Grand Prairie.
After being
away. So it's like, a little different. And then that's where the whole commitment as far as school and hockey, being away every single weekend, early on Fridays sometimes, like getting out of school, gone Friday, gone Saturday, back late Sunday. Try doing your homework on the bus, right, when you're trying to hang out with the guys. I don't know how many times I watched Dumb and Dumber, but it never gets old. I could recite that whole thing right now, right? Classic.
What's your favorite line from Dumb and Dumber?
Favorite line? Feels like we're running at an incredible rate, Harry. Felcher from Cranston? Yeah, I know her.
I mean, I met her.
So
do an entire podcast
on Dumb and Dumber. That's what you should be asking every hockey player that comes on. Favorite movie to watch on the bus, or the one that's most memorable to you.
I actually asked my brothers that on the podcast I did with them, and mine still is Bull Durham, because I actually didn't watch it playing hockey. I watched it playing baseball. And I love when he calls them all lollygaggers, right? You lollygag in the infield. You lollygag in the outfield. What does that mean?
So many good movies.
Lollygaggers.
Quick, rewind the tape so we can watch it again. Right? It'll take 15 minutes to rewind. Okay, sounds good. Play some cards.
Well, now they'll probably have. I haven't been on a bus. By the time my kids get back to a bus, they're gonna have Netflix on there, so you can just.
Doesn't
watch
everybody just have iPads now or something like that? So I think it might take away.
Right.
I don't even know what it's like.
Yeah, I don't know. Actually, I don't know. What's your favorite card game from the bus?
Euchre.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I'm a Kaiser guy. I like Kaiser. You never played Kaiser?
No.
Oh my God. You don't know what you're missing, man.
No. So I'm right. We're going to play Kaiser later on, I guess.
We need 2 other people. Somebody
Oh,
look us up
dang
in
it.
Calgary.
Yeah. Come on out, folks. Let's
Guaranteed there's like a Kaiser fan club somewhere in Calgary. And
Kaiser. Well, they've got bridge clubs. Do they have Kaiser clubs?
I guarantee they do. There's a Kaiser
got
app.
Kaiser?
There's a
No
Kaiser
way.
app. I have it on my phone. I shit you not.
Unbelievable.
Yeah,
And the podcast has turned a tragic turn for the worst.
that's right.
Bantam, yeah, wow. Good times. And then, moved down to Calgary for midget.
Now,
Well,
is that
whole family didn't move. No, my mom took a position this time, so my mom moved with work back down to Calgary for. She's a labor and delivery nurse, so she moved down here with myself and my sister, and so the 3 of us just lived in a condo not too far from here, actually. And the family was just split up a little bit while my dad was trying to wrap up work up in Grand Prairie and sell the house. He had my 2 youngest brothers there. My oldest brother had already moved out, so we saw each other at the bigger holidays or when I was going through Grand Prairie playing is when I saw them. And then the following year, so my second year of midget, we finally bought a house in Calgary, and the whole family was then most of the family was back together then.
How was that going through as a family?
You don't think about it all as a kid, so to speak. I mean, that was just life to an extent. I mean, I thought hockey was everything. I didn't think about the whole family life, but I know it was a little hard on obviously my parents and maybe my upbringing. My parents didn't get to come see me as much as they wanted to, like play hockey. I wish my dad could have come out and saw more of the games and coached me a little bit from the stands or, before and after games, but such is life. I mean, I like to think I'm in a good place right now. So
now that I'm married, I can't imagine
sending your kid away or
sending my kid away. Having my wife go live in a different town. What's Calgary to Grand Prairie? What's that?
Calgary to Grand Prairie, 7 hours.
7 hours?
Yeah.
Right? Like, that'd be tough. I mean,
there are some days I wish my wife was 7 hours away. I'm sorry.
If you hear a big thwack.
Just kidding.
So who'd you play midget for in Calgary?
Midget AAA was here with the Northwest Calgary Athletic Association, the Flames, as we're called.
The Flames.
The Flames.
Did you get, as a Calgary...
That's the only time I ever wore Flames colors, and the only time I ever will.
Did you get to play in a Max Cup then, being from...
I did, yeah. I played my second year. Unfortunately, my first year of midget, I broke my my right wrist, I think 2 weeks before the Max Midget tournament. So I had to sit in the stands my first year of midget and miss the whole entire Max. And that was, I think, the year Sidney Crosby came through and played.
Crap.
Yeah,
Was he that good at that age?
He was...
Who am I kidding? I know he was that
I would have been 16, 17 then. I think he was a 13 or 14-year-old. It was, wow. Incredible. And then I think he played the next year too. Like, so many good players through then. We never played against him. I think he was in a different pool, but wow.
Do you remember who off your midget AAA teams was the best player? Do you remember
my
that?
midget AAA, so my first year midget AAA team, best player probably would have been Shane Hines, who went on to he was drafted by the Anaheim Ducks and went and played with them before. I think he had a severe knee injury, and then he stopped playing. So I actually see him in the city now. He's working oil and gas. And then my second year, best player on that team probably would have been Ryan Duncan, who went on to play with Shattuck St. Mary, the North Dakota Fighting Sioux, won the Hobie Baker, and now he's playing over. He tried to play in the NHL, but like you, he's got a little bit of a size challenge, I think, and he's playing over in Germany now, Salzburg, with the Red Bulls.
Oh, wow.
I believe, yeah. And he's been there for 5+ years, I think. So yeah, good times. Midget AAA. You think you're the kings of the world. So much fun.
So you're playing midget AAA. Do you remember you said you tried out, or maybe you were signed by Olds Grizzlies? Was that your first choice? Did you have multiple suitors?
So my first year of midget, I went to Crepes. Why can't I think about it? Camrose Kodiaks.
Frig, everybody went to
I know it. Well,
Camels.
everybody. So I went there, and if, maybe it was their spring camp, like after the season.
Yeah.
And we'd like to have you come on back. You know, you're just sifting through we'd like the promises, which you don't know which to take seriously as a kid.
Do they still get those?
I don't know.
I gotta have a younger guy on to tell me what they went through, because
it's probably all email now, right? I mean, nobody
get
checks the mailbox anymore, right?
I used to get like 14 letters. I used to get like a letter from every SJ team.
Yeah, because I think they grab the team list and just send it all. Hey, come on out,
especially if you
right?
win a league or if you're in the top, right? They just hammer it out, and they're hoping. I mean, it's
Hope
a
for the
cash
best.
grab, right?
Of course,
some of it is.
Yeah,
anyways.
come to our camp and pay $60, and then it's okay, yeah, and then they kind of see you and look. So Camrose, I went to one of their camps first. And then I think I went to Olds after that. But the start of my second year midget, I went out to Olds, and they're like, go back and play a second year midget. So I went and played a second year midget, and then I went back again the start of the following season for junior. I hadn't signed. I signed with them then because we needed to play a couple exhibition games. I played, I think, 2 or 3 exhibition games. And then they're like, yeah, it's just not going to work out here. We have too many defensemen. Then, so it was like, hey, we know there's this new up-and-coming league over in Ontario right now. We can ditch your rights and all that stuff out to them, because at the time there was a coach from Alberta that just took over the Dryden Ice Dogs from Larry Wintoniak. Wayne Labrie was his name.
Okay.
And so he was looking for some Western talent, so to speak, not have so many Ontario guys, because they could have 8 imports like in Dryden. So there was a few of us from Alberta that ended up going out to. I didn't know anybody else at the time. It was just flying in there, start a camp, and.
Before we go to Dryden,
Yeah, you betcha. Yeah.
let's bring up right now is like. I think it's my favorite time of year, right? You got the NHL playoffs going on, but you also just finished the Allen Cup. Shout out to Lacombe Generals who won the Allen Cup.
Congrats there, boys.
Yeah, and then you got. Well, I was always a junior A guy, so I like watching and seeing what the different leagues are doing, right? So right now, like the Brooks team is like hurts my brain. They're a host team.
Yep.
Usually the host team loses out in like the first round.
Right.
Man, I know that isn't exactly right, but you know what I mean. Like it just seems like every time there's a host team, they never make it out of the first round. They get a bye to the.
And then they wait 2 or 3 weeks
months.
until months.
Right. And then they're healthy and they walk in and they win a couple games, and and it's like, oh, that kind of sucks, because all these other teams have been playing like best of 7s and everything.
Yeah, they've been playing the playoffs for the last month of the season. They're just going strong.
Brooks broke their record.
The AJHL record,
57-3. Like 57-3.
That's a lot of wins.
Right? And one of the complaints I heard online was they don't have enough Alberta boys on that team. And I'm like, they just 57-3. Who cares where they're getting their talent from? If you're a fan of that team, it's like, do you care if it's right? Like, but I come from the school of thought. I didn't play in Saskatchewan. I played out in Ontario as a Saskatchewan boy. If the kids come in and buy into what you're doing and become part of your community, what the heck does it matter?
Yeah, they're part of the community then.
Right?
Dryden boys. Dryden's a second home.
Well, absolutely. I speak very highly of Dryden because Dryden was that good.
Yeah.
So, Brooks now is 11-3 in playoffs. They've lost just as many games in playoffs as they did this season.
I mean, you got to have down days. I mean,
I think they are up 3-0. Would that be? I think
last time I looked, I think it was
3-0, right?
Yeah.
3-0 in the finals against Spruce Grove.
Yeah.
And then they got to play in the Doyle Cup against
Western.
Them against BC.
Yeah.
And BC, I think, is Vernon and Prince George right now.
Oh, okay.
Right? Not that this is going.
Yeah.
This is like the coolest time of year.
Oh yeah, so many different playoffs going on.
Yeah, right.
Leading to the national championships or the NHL championships. Yeah, when it all gets there, it's the stories of how those teams got there.
Oh man,
it's incredible.
Except for the friggin' Brooks band, like they're just absolutely mopping the floor. I was trying to think of like a team that even remotely comes close.
You could look at the Tampa Bay Lightning, who just tied the NHL record,
but they lost
for wins.
in the first
I know.
round.
Yes, they got swept. But I mean, you're looking for another team. It's.
I always think like the New
Brooks
England,
showed up. Tampa Bay, zilch.
I think New England Patriots to hop sports. I think they have that perfect season and then they lose in the Super Bowl, right? Like they came that close, right?
Yeah.
I'm a Brady fan, but
better luck next year.
Yeah, well,
365 more days next year's hockey tryouts. Need to toughen up.
So how do you fly out to Dryden then?
Negative. I drove out last year. Gotta love that road trip out to Dryden.
So you drove out by yourself?
The wife and I drove out.
No,
for last year's alumni.
For when you go for the first year you play in Dryden.
Oh, sorry. When I went out to Dryden, I flew out to Dryden. Yeah. I remember leaving Olds, coming back home, and I was talking to my dad. He's like, well, this is an opportunity. I was like, I don't even know where Dryden is. So yeah, no really good internet. It's only dial-up back then. So Dad pulls out the old map of Canada, spreads it out on top of the pool table, right? And I vividly remember this. And we're doing the old search through Ontario. It's like Northern Ontario. And, if you tell anybody that, they just start looking like north of like
Toronto.
Yeah, Toronto. Oh, yeah, okay. Cottage country. No, like the north where the trees are. Jeez. The trees and mosquitoes. Yeah, right there. So then we finally find Dryden, and it's out in the sticks, so to speak, but an opportunity, and nobody else was offering any opportunity at the time, so jumped at it, packed the hockey bag in a suitcase, and flew out to Dryden. It was pretty cool.
You said the airport was a memorable experience, or getting picked up.
Well, yeah. So the airport, I don't remember anybody else being on my flight. I just remember walking outside the Winnipeg terminal, and there's this big giant red Ford F-350. Tiniest little man standing next to it named Kevin Zachary. Love the guy to death. Yes. Right? Big K, as they call him, standing there, and he's picking up all these hockey players. So he notices me with the big hockey bag, and you heading out to Dryden? Yeah, that's me. He's like, which one are you? I was like, I'm Colin Senkow. I'm from Calgary. He's like, oh, okay, cool. And there's 2 or 3 other guys there. One was from Quebec at the time. And so we all hop in big case, like all the hockey bags in the back.
Did any of them stay playing for a couple of years, or were you the only one? Or do you remember?
I was two of them played that year, and then they weren't there for the rest of the year.
Yep.
Yeah. One of them was another defenseman. I can't remember. I'd have to look at the rosters, so to speak. Him and I were mild defense partners and stuff like that. But that trip, I remember hopping in the truck, and we're making the 3-hour drive out to Dryden, and everybody's just shooting the shit, talking about where they're from and where they played before. And obviously the Quebec guy, we start calling him Frenchie, so to speak. I mean, wherever he's from, because he's got the accent and can't speak very good English. So then they get to me, and I'm from Calgary. Oh, you ever go to the Calgary Stampede before? And oh yeah, I've been there a few times. Like pretty good little party in the city. And then Frenchie pipes up from the back. He's like, oh, so you a cowboy then, right? It's like, not really. Like, I live in the city, right? Right? But you got horses and everything there, right? You're like a cowboy. And Big K liked that so much, he started calling me cowboy, and we went right to Eagle Lake, I think it was. We didn't go right into Dryden. There was a practice that day in Eagle Lake, just out on the reserve for the team. And so all 4 or 5 of us in the truck pulled in there. That's where Big K left us, and we hopped on the ice. And yeah, the rest is history. Spent 3 years there.
I was saying to Tyler McDonald as I talked to him.
You talked to him?
Yes, I did. Yeah, I did get a hold of him.
The old T-Mac.
And I asked him point blank, like, how the heck does cowboy, like, where does that come from? Because I was saying to him, like, when I got to Dryden, which would have been 3 years after that, or 2 years, I guess, 2 full years after that. I played with you your third year. We knew he was Captain Cowboy. And I was saying to him, I'm like, I'm pretty sure for at least the first 2 months, I didn't know your first name. Heck, I might have not known your last name. I just knew you was Cowboy. Everybody called you Cowboy, right?
Yeah.
So a Frenchman gave you nickname.
Frenchman gave me the name Cowboy, and it stuck. Billets, everybody, teammates, coaches, everybody called me Cowboy, and I can't go back to Dryden and not be called Cowboy. Everybody does. It's pretty good. Love it.
So when you go there, you get dropped off at Eagle Lake. Eagle Lake. Yeah, when the year we went to the Dudley, we practiced at Eagle Lake. I think that's the only time I practiced there. Random enough. So you're practicing, is that training camp then? Or is that you're already on the team?
That was training camp. Yeah.
It was. I think they had already done 1 or 2 practices, like some mock scrimmages and stuff like that. But they only had, I think there was 30 of us there at that training camp then, like in Eagle Lake, and it was 2 or 3 ice sessions a day. Yeah, just weeding through all the crap.
Did you have to throw down back then?
I did, yeah.
Did you?
Yeah, in training camp.
Yeah, how'd you do?
Oh, not bad. Yeah, pretty good. I actually ended up fighting Pat Celine, another good friend of mine that I played with 2 years there, and he's from Cochrane, Alberta, so just out. So he had made the drive all the way out there. Same almost story as me. Needed like the opportunity out in Dryden, so he made the trek all the way out there, and we both knew we wanted to make the team, so we dropped our mitts together, and he's got a few inches on me, height and reach, but I held in there, and I know I took a few punches, but it was helped us make the team.
God, it feels like yesterday going to training camps, and I dealt with Larry for my first. Where I went an extended period, so like where I stayed longer than just like a spring training camp, where you basically go out and do a whole lot of nothing, right? You just, you skate and you scrimmage and whatever. But my first 3 training camps were under Larry Wintoniak, where I felt like I had to fight. So I always, I remember my first, for sure, 3 fights in the SI were with a guy who was 6 foot, a guy who was 6'3", and a guy who was 6'5". I actually didn't do that bad because they were so surprised I wasn't drop the mitts. But I had Larry on the bench.
He's so feisty.
He was yelling off. He's a sass kid. I can't control him, right? And I'm going like, Larry, just leave it alone. I'm
Put your chain back on him, Wintoniak. Put your chain back on your pit bull.
I don't think I fought much after that. I was never a great fighter, but
you needed to in that league.
Well, you needed to.
You needed to stick up for yourself and everybody. Like, you couldn't just have one guy doing the fighting every single night with we didn't have a 2-fight rule. It was only a 1-fight rule. So you needed to pick your battles wisely, and everybody kind of needed to share the load, so to speak. Oh, Dryden. So many memories.
I was going through, I drove 5 hours today, so I got to sit and think about some things from Dryden, and I was wondering, do you remember your rookie party? Because now you know what? They probably do rookie parties. They're probably a little tamer than what we went through.
Yep.
And I know hazing is very frowned upon. I'm not even sure I mind that, right? There was some stuff that went on and still goes on from time to time that make you just shake your head. Like, why would you ever do that, right?
Yep.
But do you remember your rookie party?
There were so many parties in Dryden. It's hard to mesh them all together or pull them apart, so to speak. One specific rookie party right
I
off the bat,
remember I remember my rookie party, which you would have been the captain of at the time. My vet that I got sold to or dealt to was Kyle Schroeder. Right? I got put in a man diaper at a Depends. I think it said rookie bitch on it, and they dressed me up like a little baby, and I had to walk around.
I didn't authorize that. It was
I was a willing participant, right? Like I wasn't like I was. They didn't do anything bad to me. They just dressed me up and made me walk in front of girls, and embarrass myself, right? Like
dress you up and walk you around Dryden. I mean, 10 people will see you, right? It's wintertime. Nobody's there.
You can't remember your rookie party. I remember it vividly.
No.
I remember getting Kyle Schroeder. He was my roommate at the time. And just being like, you gotta be kidding me.
I remember one of the first bus rides where, they did toss a bunch of us in the washroom, right? that old trick, right? Down to your underwear, and they took all your clothes, taped all your clothes together. I think there was 5 of us packed into a tiny bathroom in the back. I mean,
well, everybody's been in a bus before. They understand you can't fit 2 people in there. Now you jam 5 kids in there, and away they go.
And then everybody's got to come out in their clothes. So, that was a good time. Geez. I remember that. Just the road trips all the time. Oh my goodness. Rookie party, no. So many of them at either the Zachary's or you name it, any of them.
Moose tongue wine.
Yep. Moose tongue wine.
To this day, I still believe there's a moose tongue in there. I don't care what they say.
Oh, even if it's just dipped, there's definitely one in there.
Yeah.
We could talk about the lanes too. Wonderful billets.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Well, no.
We shared...
Lanes, I speak about them all the time, right? They are
pseudo family, right?
Right, yeah. Right?
Home away from home.
You
spent all 3 years there.
Yeah, all 3 years there.
I had 2 there.
And when we went back here, I was thinking about it on the way here,
at the alumni
me
game.
And you haven't seen each other. It's pretty much been
a year.
Well, now it's been a year, but before that, it's pretty much been 13, 14 years since we sat across from each other, and now twice in 1 year. It's pretty cool, right?
No kidding.
the podcast is just great.
Great excuse.
Yeah, great excuse to come sit and have a BS, right?
Heck yeah.
But when I went back, I got to stay with the Lanes, and it was just like he'd never left, right? Yeah. And then my kids are running around terrorizing the place, and they're just loving on it, right? Like it's fun. Actually, Aaron's out in. Actually, I think all 3 kids. I could be wrong. Aaron and Megan are both out in BC right now.
Yep.
And Aaron listens to the podcast, so shout out to Aaron.
Aaron. Colin Senkow here. Very nice to see you again, man. Talk to you, I should say.
Hey, listens to all the episodes.
That's awesome.
I gave him a shout out probably 5 episodes ago or something like that, right?
Oh my, cut your hair, you pumpkin-haired fruitcake.
Speaking of billets, I heard some. I talked to Artie and Sherry today, and they had some funny stories. And I can either torture them or you can tell them the way it happened. I think all my listeners would prefer if you told them. And so I think I want to start out with you pantsing Arnie at breakfast.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Nothing like waking up as a 19-year-old kid. You smell, freshly cooked breakfast. You're like, awesome, great breakfast. Yeah, can't wait. Wonderful billets. Arnie's standing at the kitchen. At the stove. He's making breakfast, and I think Sherry was at the table at the time. Arnie and I have the banter back and forth. We're chirping about each other, either about the game last night or his Montreal Canadiens not doing so well.
I wish they didn't make the playoffs this year. Sorry, Arnie.
Yeah, sorry about that, Arnie. And
they really choked at the end.
I don't know what type of comment he made, but I ended up going up to the stove, and he's like, "Oh yeah, what are you gonna do about it?" And I don't know if any of the other listeners out there, but Arnie Shaun was a 20-year corrections officer, so he knows how to handle himself very well. And he's wrapped me up and in a pretzel, so to speak, a couple times. We had some good little wrestling matches, so I knew I had to pick my battles wisely. And Arnie having both of his hands busy, I know he wasn't able to get me at the time, so feeling kind of brave at the time. He made some comment. I don't remember what it was at the time, but I ended up going up behind him and I pantsed him as he's standing at the stove, and I turned to run, and and I went and sat at the dining room table, and he stood there for about another 2 to 3 minutes cooking breakfast with his pants down around his ankles. Didn't even care. He's like, "You think that's going to stop me, Colin? You think that's going to stop me?" It was very entertaining, to say the least. But
he says it was 15 minutes, and he claims he walked around the kitchen, and there was a bunch of your buddies over for breakfast that morning.
We had Corey Smith at the time, was another one of the billets. He was there too, and he's like shaking his head. Oh, he couldn't believe it.
Talk to him today.
Yeah. Oh shit!
No, he said, you know what? He was super
awesome.
He
cool.
didn't lay any landmines for you. He he said you were serious at the hockey. Or serious at the hockey rink, and at home you're a little more goofy.
Yep.
That was pretty. But he had mad respect for you. He said, taught him. He was a late comer to the team that year, and when he came in, he said you showed him the ropes. So he actually had a lot of high things to say about you.
Props, thanks there, Smitty. Appreciate it, man.
Now the other story that Sherry brings up,
oh no,
is that you used to like to moon Arnie when he'd come home. And maybe mooning the wrong person.
He's just pants down. Just a bunch of exhibitionists at this house, apparently. Yes, I would pants Arnie every once in a while when he's coming home from the mill, just because our banter back and forth. He would moon me too on game days. Usually when I'm heading to the rink, he's like, "Oh, cowboy, you're looking pretty fancy in your suit." He's like, "About as fancy as this," and he'd moon me. So knowing he was coming home that day, all I saw was the vehicle pull into the driveway, so I ran to the dining room window there, and I pulled my pants down, mooned him out the window, and Sherry's parents stepped out of the vehicle, and Sherry's mom had the closest view of my arse, so to speak, and without missing a beat, she comes into the house, and she's like, "Oh, well, cowboy, that's a side of you I've never seen before." And Sherry knew it and purposely sent her parents in to give me the gears. It was, very eye-waking.
Sherry would like to point out it was one of her sons that told you to moon them.
Jamie? Yes. Oh, Jamie, you little bastard. I'm going to get you. Oh, lots of good memories. Lots of good memories. Shared a couple bottles of vodka with Robin, like at the lanes.
Yeah.
A couple times. Some good drinks, rum and cokes with Arnie as well.
They were just great people.
Props to the Billets. Yep. They did a good job with them.
That alumni event that we got to go to was like something else. I wish they'd do that more often. I wish they would do it like. I know they can't probably do it every year, but if they did, I'd go. If
5
they did
or 10, whatever.
Well, 10's too freaking long.
10 is pretty long, yeah.
I think you stub your toe and you can't walk. I don't know. Frick, you have 3 kids in 4 years like this. Yeah.
Well, the team's been going now for 20 plus years, right? I mean, you've got a substantial amount of alumni now that have played.
And an event like that, the hardest year to get going is the first year. Once you have the first year, now we're all going to talk so highly of it. You're going to get more people. And I talk to guys all the time that didn't go, and they're like, man, I want to go, right? But like to go back and just like...
It was great. It brought back so many memories. It was the first time I got a chance to bring my wife out there, show her the ropes of good old Dryden town. I wish we could have stayed there a little longer. The weather would have been nicer, hanging out at the beaches or whatever. But it was phenomenal to be back. Yep. Miss Dryden.
It's just so far away, right? Like, I mean, I don't know what is it, like 16 hours?
Drive, yeah, about that.
Right?
I've made it in 11. But
I used to, you talk about maps. The first time when I woke up, so I got called on a Friday. By Monday, I left. That's how quickly it happened. Monday morning, I left at like 5 a.m. with a map of Saskatchewan on my lap in the old black Mustang and got lost in the first hour at North Battleford. I drove into North Battleford, the city, and got going around. I don't have
Couldn't
GPS.
you just see Manitoba and you know which direction to head
from
Saskatchewan
that's not
anyway,
the
right?
way it works,
you
you
just,
jackass.
there's Brandon right there. I'm just going to head that direction.
You mentioned Gapper or something, I'm going to jump across the table at you.
Here we go. It's a scrap, folks.
Well, coming here today, I mean, you just type it in the GPS and you just listen for the prompts and you're just here, right? Like
technology, wonderful thing.
So different, right?
Oh, heck yeah.
But man, that
made us stupid.
Kind of.
Yeah. How often do your kids I know I've got a 3-month-old. Every time I'm on my phone, she's looking right at me like, "Hey, Dad, get off your phone." Or she's looking right at the phone herself. How often do your kids look at you when you're on any type of technology or anything like that?
They cart around my phone now.
Uh-oh.
Right? And
they change the settings and put it on like the Spanish.
No,
and you're
the
like,
best
how the hell did
the
you
best
do
was
that?
Spanish on the Netflix.
How did you do that? I just understand it, Dad.
You
What
got
the heck is
Spanish
going on? This is
subtitles going, and I'm like, how the heck did he pull that off? And that takes me 20 minutes to get back to like where it isn't. Like, it's stupid. But he's 3 years old and he almost knows how to navigate Netflix now, right? Like, it's kind of scary.
Jeez.
But it's one of those things like we don't watch a whole lot of cable anymore. Almost none except for live sports. Everything else is like, if you want to watch something, you go to Netflix, you flick it on, and then you watch it, and then when you're done, you turn it off and you walk away, right?
True story. Yep.
Right? And everything's going that way. Like, cable is going to be a thing of the past here soon enough.
Yep, streaming.
As soon as they figure out how to get, I always think, live sports a little bit better streaming. When they can get, like, I want to turn on the weather game, and, well, actually, screw that. It's happening right now because I was at the brother's house the other night. We're in the backyard having a bonfire, or a campfire.
Yep.
And he goes, it'd be nice if we had a TV out here. We could put the game on. It was Winnipeg playing St. Louis, Game 3. And all of a sudden I'm like, actually, I got Shaw. I got Sportsnet. I'll just put it on my phone. He's like, what? So I go on Sportsnet app, click on Watch Live, right? Then you sign up through your account because I got an account. Boom. Now I got every single channel on Sportsnet off my phone. So we're sitting out. We bring out a couple speakers, and all of a sudden you're just sitting out in the backyard with a fire, game on the phone. We're not even really paying attention to the TV, but now we can hear it, right? Away you go.
Yeah.
Right? Like, wow. That's the way the world's going. Pretty soon you're just, like, you don't need cable, right? And the big thing when we were young, or when I was young, was we had 2 and 4 out on the farm. And then we got satellite. I cannot describe to you
the joy
of getting more than 2 channels, right? And now, like, I don't want more than 2 channels. Heck, I don't watch more than 2 channels, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's
sports. I'm with you. That's all I pretty much watch on there. That's it. The rest you stream. When's the Newman podcast going to be streaming?
On
Live video.
Oh yeah, YouTube. Yeah, I'd like to do that.
You set the old GoPro up.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Then we can give mad shout outs.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a big fan of Joe Rogan. That's what he does. Everything's live streamed, right? I gotta continue to grow on this. Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if they want to see my ugly mug anyways, right? Like I might have to put my tooth in for that. Like I might just clean myself up a little bit.
You can wear a mask.
You could wear a
wig. Do you remember? Do you remember when you took that slap shot? Remember when we had to blend up all your food for you?
Oh God.
I remember that road trip.
For the people who don't know me, I took 2 slap shots in a season.
Yep.
And the first one was in Fort Francis.
Yep.
Man, that thing had eyes. Because the guy shot it from the middle. They win the draw. He walks middle of the blue line in front of the net, like straight across from the net. Or takes a shot. It goes off the end of his stick.
Screaming.
And it came over guys, and I was just skating out of the corner. Hits me square in the face. Dropped me like a sack of bricks.
Bam. Right in the kisser.
Where was it they blended up food? That was Thunder Bay, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was in Thunder Bay. Remember we were having breakfast. It was like French toast and sausage or whatever, something like that. And you're like, oh, I can't really have this. We're like, can't you just toss it in a blender and all stuff with like some milk or something like that? Yeah, okay. And they put some syrup in there and they brought it out all blended up for you. And you're like, it actually tastes like it was hilarious. I remember that.
I remember taking like 2 sips of it, and it did taste good because I couldn't move my jaw. My jaw wasn't broke. Yeah. It was just like seized shut from bruising or whatever else. Oh, I took like 2 sips of it, and I was so full. I was just like, I can't even
your
drink
stomach
anymore.
is drunk. Yeah, I'm done. No more. Oh, wow. Fuck.
I want to go to Larry Wintoniak.
Oh, yeah.
Because that is your final year there. I got to spend 2 under Larry.
Yep.
But you mentioned Larry as being the best coach that you had.
Yep.
Why is that?
I would say Larry was the best coach for myself because of giving me the opportunity to be captain of the Ice Dogs that last year. He actually helped me develop, I think, a little bit more, not just with his dry land stuff, maybe more as like the personal aspect with like the leadership and everything. A lot of the other coaches I had, you're just the 5th, 6th defenseman. It's like you're just another body, right? And they're there to win games. They weren't necessarily there for the development of the players. And Larry was actually there for, I would say, the development of the players and helped everybody. And I think maybe he didn't single out me. I know he was doing it as a team for everybody, but it just felt like it was just that much more personal, I guess. And then I knew him personally because of me being the captain that year. He treated me phenomenally well, better than any of the other coaches I had. So yeah, thanks Larry for my wonderful final year of junior A in Dryden. Appreciate it.
Yeah. I admire Larry. Like Larry changed my life. I always say he changed my life because I was just an 18-year-old kid and I was going down a different path. It just wasn't hockey and whatever. And just the things he instilled in me was crazy.
Stay with you.
Right? And we always joke around about the drinking, how much drinking there was in Dryden. But that year that I came, we got green lights. So that means if you didn't get a green light, there was no drinking, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so the green light weekends, I was 18, Ontario was 19.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Road trip
to Manitoba, right? Winnipeg or Brandon.
Oh, when Winnipeg, man, that city took a hit when Dryden showed up, I tell you. Right.
Well, a bunch of 18 to 20-year-old kids that have under lock and key, right?
Yeah. For
good reason. Larry knew what he was doing there.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And then you get a hall pass to go out and just give me anything. I just need
He's like, get out of the town so our sponsors understand that you're still reputable young men. Get out of the town, go somewhere else, and be complete idiots.
It was smart.
Oh, of course.
Very smart move, right? Like looking back on it, because
those road trips out there with the boys, so much fun.
So much fun.
And then hungover road trips on the way back, just like, oh my god. And then the
Monday
worst
practices.
You
remember when he used to wear the hats?
Larry would wear the hats?
When we would get bag skated, he any skate we had, he'd always no hat. He always was a man. Still, when I saw him he always had his hair done, right? Like,
yeah.
Never hat. As soon as he meant business, he'd wear a Calgary Flames hat. Drove me nuts because you almost sat there on the edge of your seat going,
I don't think I picked up on that. Ooh, we're in for it now.
Now we're in for it. He'd walk in with the Calgary Flames hat. Son of a bitch. Yeah, here we go. Everybody just moseys on the ice and we start skating. You remember, I found out an interesting tidbit, and I'm curious because you were the captain, so maybe you knew this. Remember when the police came to the one practice and we got bag skated? Did you know about that?
Yeah.
Did you know you knew everything was going to happen?
No, I didn't. I had been given a hint, and I don't think I can remember the whole story. Now, I was talking to Trihuba about it beforehand, I think, and go where you're going. Oh man.
Well, so for the people, I probably talked about this a couple times. People haven't listened to it. So we show up to the skate. We're getting bag skated, and you got a bunch of young guys, and marijuana is not legal at the time. So the background is that I don't know, maybe a couple guys were smoking marijuana or something. I don't know. It's illegal at the time. And so we're sitting there, we're getting skated, but nobody really knows why we're getting skated. And then we're all lined up on the goal line, and Larry sees two cops walk in, and he says, "You boys don't move." And he walks over and he talks to him for like the longest, probably 30 seconds to 2 minutes of my entire life. It felt like 30 minutes. I'm going like, what the hell is going on right now?
What did we get ourselves into here?
Comes back, and then what he says is somebody bought off a narc, and then he proceeds to skate us and yell at us for like, I don't know, another 30 minutes, right, to prove a point.
Yep.
Well, now that I'm older and I saw him, I questioned him on it, and he started laughing. He said, "Oh no, that was all staged," right? He'd heard some rumblings that maybe some shenanigans were going on.
Yes. He told me that something was going to be happening. I didn't know cops were going to be showing up or anything like that. After the fact, I did find out from some of the guys on the team that they were into doing all the drugs and stuff like that. They were smoking marijuana, and it did become part of an issue, and that's why Larry wanted to kind of address that issue as a team. So, yeah, good old boys. Nothing like the coach playing games with you, though.
Think about it now. Now it's illegal. I don't even know. Like, what do you do now as a coach, right? Like back then, it's illegal. It's illegal. Simple as that, right?
Yeah.
For me, drinking at that first year, it was fun enough, but B, I wasn't old enough in Ontario, so I had to leave province to be even of age, right? So
you could still drink at our team parties, and you did. So
well, no, yeah, sure, yeah.
You're an adult now, Newman.
That's right.
So good.
But I don't know what a coach does. I suppose they make him sign something. That's the only thing you could do, right?
Or is it one of those coaches where, I mean, if you're performing up to that standard at the games, you're doing your job, that everybody just turns a blind eye, so to speak? I mean, you look at the NHL. I mean, how many people are under the influence of whatever? You even look 5-10 years ago when cocaine was around, and look at Kiprasov, and so, like, guys were so professional and doing their jobs that teams would turn a blind eye in regards to that. Oh, hey, you're making it to the playoffs for us, making it to the Stanley Cup, and then you're not the next year. Like, I wonder why.
I don't know.
If your performance is good enough, maybe they're okay with it. If it's
a dangerous game to play with kids,
but
especially.
Then, you think then a rookie comes onto the team and they see a vet or whatever doing that.
It's all about the culture.
Yikes! Then
it's a precedent you set right from the beginning.
So I don't know how you address it as a coach, or
I don't know.
Or as an organization. I know a lot of the like the NHL organizations all have the substance abuse stuff now. There's a lot of people that are coming out with all that stuff now. So maybe they address more of it now because of the amount of money they invest in all these players. You think junior, I mean, there's not a lot of money invested in them, but I don't know. What are you smirking at now? What do you got? Shit.
I was told to ask you about always missing the wine and cheese.
Oh, Tyler McDonald. That was that was Pat Celine's wedding. Another fellow Ice Dog. He graduated into the alumni the year before I finished. So he's a year older than me. It was his wedding up in... Geez, where the heck was he? Where's Shania Twain from?
I don't know. That should be a typical Canadian thing to remember.
Gosh,
North Bay? Somewhere over there?
Maybe it was North Bay.
One of the bays?
Tyler McDonald, Mike McIntyre, Pat Celine, and myself. So the four of us became very good friends my very first year in Dryden. And So Pat Celine's getting married. I fly into Toronto. Tyler, Mike, and myself go out, have some wild nights partying, start heading through cottage country, going up to the wedding. And Tyler and myself get to the resort. Mike is one of the groomsmen for Pat, so he goes and starts doing his groomsman thing. I think they were going golf or whatever. Tyler and I are like, oh, screw, there's a pool down here at the hotel. Why not, go and hang out in the pool and drink a little bit. Tyler's drink of choice at the time was vodka and G2s or Gatorade. So
because you gotta stay
you gotta stay hydrated. Yeah, of course,
that's
right?
Yeah.
So we're 27, 28 years old, something about that maybe, I think. And just the two of us sitting in the pool. We're swimming around. We're looking for something to do to kind of pass the time. There's a broken ping pong paddle there, and so we start playing some weird messed up game,
in the pool.
Drinking game in the pool, where if you had a goal scored against you, you'd have to like drink your drink of vodka and G2. Needless to say, I can score as well in that game as I did with the Ice Dogs, which is not very good. Not very good. So I was hammered. And we got out of the pool, and there was a wine and cheese before, just a little meet and greet before the wedding, like the following day. And I was very much looking forward to see Pat's parents and like Pat and his future bride, Megan, and everybody like that. And so Tyler and I go back to the room, have a shower. We go down to the restaurant just for a quick bite to eat before going to the actual wine and cheese. I believe I ordered my food and then I excused myself to the bathroom, and that's when the vomiting started. And I was passed out in my room by about 5 o'clock. Pictures ensued. I missed the wine and cheese, and I was up by I think 11 or noon the next day, just in time for the wedding. So Pat Celine will never let me live that down, but I miss the wine and cheese. Yeah. Thanks, T-Mac. Appreciate you bringing that one up, bro. Crap. What else you got?
on a lighter, I give you a rough time.
I can't handle my booze.
You brought up the SS Wiener, and I thought that was pretty. You've always been a guy that could talk to anyone and make everyone feel welcome. And so he talked about the SS Wiener in Mexico going on a party boat.
Oh, shit.
And he thought that you guys went there and you thought you were going on with a bunch of young ladies and whatever, and you showed up and it was a bunch of families.
It was, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And so you guys started calling the boat SS Wiener is what he thought.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh wow. I forgot that one.
But he talks about, we don't have to go into the craziness that happens. What happens is you come back. The short side of the story is you come back and there's two other boats leave at the same time. And I'm probably ad-libbing a bunch of this, but there's two boats that left with young women and boys on it, right? And they come back and your boat is singing "Oh Canada," having this blast of a time. You got these old married couples just loving life.
Oh, yeah.
And he goes, yeah, so everybody's staring at us going like,
who the hell are these guys, idiots? Right? Yeah.
And he goes, you and I forget the other guy that was with you, but you stayed an extra day and there was guys trying to pay you to go out with them so that you could show them a good time.
Yeah. Yeah, it was Mike McIntyre once again, Tyler McDonald, Shaun Zatchery, and one of our goaltenders at the time, Ryan Como, I think was his name. Hilarious. That was an epic trip. Canadians know how to party when we get out there. And a bunch of young guys traveling away for the first time. Cancun. Yeah. That was hilarious.
Oh, God.
Oh, he brought that one up. I forgot all about that.
Okay, well, we got to get into World Police and Fire Games before I get you off of here. But we're going to take a short little break to refuel and clear our heads. So we'll be right back. Well, we're back now. I meant to say right at the beginning, it's from I don't know if civilian's the right terminology, but you being a firefighter is like, from a guy who doesn't do a job like that, like it's pretty cool to sit across from you and like Like, well, it's a dangerous job you do, man. Like, not everybody just like signs up to run into burning buildings, right? Like,
True story.
that's pretty gnarly, I think is the word, maybe.
Thanks. Yeah. Keeps things interesting, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
It's just like playing sports is one of the reasons why I became a firefighter is it's just like the hockey team, like the rush, the hanging out with the guys, the stories, the banter. It's tons of fun. Great profession.
You know, I got asked that the other day if anything gives me a rush like hockey does.
Yeah.
And I said this does.
Sex. I mean, sorry.
I said this does.
Podcast?
I get so
The rush?
nervous before I come on with a guy like you, right? It's the nervous.
Come on.
It's the nervousness.
Stop it.
Well, you're kind of a big deal.
Definitely not.
In my eyes, you are at least, hey?
Everybody's bigger than you, Newman.
Jackass.
Yeah.
But the rush, just like, making sure I'm not going to say the wrong thing or having it lined up, having it like smooth, I guess, right?
We're just two guys having a conversation.
That's right.
Here.
But as soon as I get past the initial, minute or two, or maybe it's 30 seconds, it's just like hockey. Hockey, I get nerves before pretty much every game, right? And then as soon as you step on the ice, get hit once, take a shot, make a nice play, get crushed, right? Like all of a sudden it's like, oh, right, I'm playing hockey. I know how to do this, right?
Yeah. You either need to get hit really hard or you go have a shower with the boys, strip down like you're in the change room here, really stinky atmosphere, Hey, how was your night last night with that chick you picked up? Don't want to talk about it.
So firefighting's like that then?
Firefighting is very much that team atmosphere. Everybody brings something different to the table. We have people from all different walks of life, right? There's been doctors, engineers,
firefighters,
high school graduates. People change their professions all the time, and people are attracted to it for many different reasons. So you take all those people and you put them on the team, and everybody brings something different to every single call we go to. It's right, and then
you're telling me you have a doctor that's a firefighter.
I've only heard the stories of it, but our medical director is a doctor, and they're a firefighter on the side. Yeah, so like they became a doctor and then became a firefighter as well, and now they're our medical director.
That's somebody who just likes being in school, isn't it?
Apparently, yeah. A lot of people go to school for 8 years. They're called doctors.
Yeah. You went to firefighting school in Vermilion, didn't you?
No, I went down to Texas.
Did you go down to Texas?
Yeah. So I started firefighting in Dryden.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember
at the
you.
M&R base, right?
Yeah.
Did I do it before you came? I did it that 1 year?
I think you did it before I came, and then the summer I tree planted, you were there doing the heli fighting or...
Yeah, the hell attack, stuff. So, I did that for 4 years in Dryden because the base was right out of Dryden, so that was good. Lived with the billets again.
Yeah.
And in the midst of that kind of spurred me to make the transition from the forestry firefighting to structural, the terminologies there. So, I went down to Texas and did my NFPA 1001s or professional firefighter training down there, and then started applying all over the country. And Calgary's the department that gave me the opportunity first, the job opportunity. So I took it, and the rest is history.
What was it like going? How long were you in Texas for schooling?
A month, not even.
Oh shoot!
Yeah, it was. So the school I got to do was like distance ed for the most part. You got to do a lot of it online. All your exams were sent out to you, and then you'd submit them all back. So you could kind of do it at your own pace, so to speak. And then once everything was sent in, they'd put you in a boot camp, and I went down for the boot camp. That was about a month, and it was half Canadian and half American from all across the country. So it's pretty cool. And one of the guys from that class I took down in Texas, I work with on the Calgary Fire Department now. He's a good buddy of mine, was one of my groomsmen at my wedding. So it's a small world. It's crazy. Great profession.
So you become a firefighter. You moved back to Calgary.
Yeah.
How long is it until they go, hey, Cowboy, I hear you played a little hockey. Maybe you could play on, I don't even know, is it the fire squad? What do you guys call yourselves?
Well, I guess we call it the open team. So the open team would be any age range, just the best caliber players for the most part. And when I got hired on the fire department in 2008, the next World Police Fire Games, which I'm assuming is where you're leading this conversation, was in 2009. So they kind of had a tryouts because they hadn't had a team in a few years. They wanted to bring some of the new guys on. They'd heard there was a bunch of new hires, a couple of Mex NHLers, not me, by the way, just lowly junior A myself. So we had some tryouts and a bunch of us skated, and I played in a Battle of the Badges game with the fire department. So it was the Calgary Fire Department, and we played against the Edmonton Fire Department with a couple of celebrities all in there as well. Carrie Fraser was the ref. Don't think it was that year. I think it was another year in 2010 or 2011. The Hanson brothers actually came to town, so got to play in a game with the Hanson brothers. That was hilarious. Just like Slapshot. But that's how the World Police Fire Games route started, with the open team. So it was just the any varying age range or caliber of firefighters. Then they have an over 35. So you're over 35 years old or older, so to speak. And then there's an over 45 as well too. So 3 categories: open, over 35, over 45. But the open would be the best caliber for the World Police Fire Games. So yeah, made that team, and yeah.
When you play, okay, I want to go back here because you rattled off a bunch of things there.
Holy, yeah, sorry.
So you play a Battle of the Badges between Edmonton and Calgary.
Yep.
You would have never assumed you would be playing for Calgary, right?
Oh yeah, here we go again.
And then you play Edmonton, but is that I don't know. I've seen the videos online of New York, right? Where it's a big brawl and stuff.
There's a reason why the Calgary firefighters don't play the Calgary Police Department anymore, like CPS, because we've had a couple altercations before in the past. Just professionalism getting the best out of us. So yeah, we play against the Edmonton Fire Department because we don't know them too well, and things don't get as heated, but it's still competitive to say the least.
Yeah, nobody's looking to lose that game,
no,
are they?
Yeah. Jeez.
So you make the 2009 Olympic squad.
No, definitely not. Definitely not.
So let's get, you gotta educate me a little bit here on this. Okay. So you go to the police and fire games.
The World Police and Fire Games.
Sorry, the Olympic stage.
WPFG.
That's right. So you go to the World Police and Fire Games.
Yes.
Now, in order for a team to go, do they have to win qualifying rounds, or they just got to go?
No, you just submit to go, but then you have to submit the caliber of players that are going, and they more or less hockey DB to make sure that you're in the right category.
So how many So that was my next question. How many categories are there?
So there's the open, and then there's Division 1 and Division 2, and I think it goes to Division 3 as well.
In the open.
In the open, yeah, there's the open division, and then they kind of go category 1, 2, 3, or sometimes the host city will change it and go A, B, C, or whatever, right? Right. Category 1 would be the highest, and traditionally, it's supposed to go. So the World Police Fire Games, the federation is down in Los Angeles, California. They started this Olympics, as you said. So rather than have the Olympic Games, when a lot of athletes retire from their sports, they're looking to still do those sports and maybe do something with their lives. So they all become policemen, firemen, corrections, AHS, which is paramedics, stuff like that. And these people the federation wanted to collect them all together and have more or less an Olympics for emergency responders. So they created the World Police Fire Games, I think early 90s.
1985.
85? Thank you very much. You did look. And I know Calgary hosted it in 1997. We had never been in the open Division 1, in the highest division, until 2011 when we played and received silver. So in 2009, it's usually based on the size of your department. So say New York City, Boston, all those departments, they have so many personnel. They are slotted in as you have 10 to 15,000 people to draw from for your hockey team.
Yeah.
So we're going to put you in Division 1. And then somebody smaller, say Red Deer, just north of Calgary, you only have, a couple hundred people to draw from. Yes, they might be pretty good, but we're going to put you in like Division 2. So unless you have a whole bunch of ex-NHLers, they might bump you up to Division 1, but you'd more or less be in Division 2. So going to 2009, the Vancouver games, we had a bunch of ex-NHLers on the team. So Travis Thiessen, Brad Ferentz, Garrett Stroshine, Scott Lindsay played in the East Coast League. Brad Olson did as well. But bunch of guys, really, really good hockey players, and they wanted to bump us up to Division 1. We hummed and hawed back and forth, and they did end up bumping us just before we showed up to the games into Division 1. So we showed up there not wanting to play against like the best of the best for these games, but we held our own pretty good and got the bronze, and then we were kind of stuck in that division for the next successive game. So that's kind of how they created the games and how they dictate who goes where. And
so how many teams then are you competing against in a division, in a select division? So you're in your division, you go there, you go in 2009, 2011, and you skip one in the middle that was in Belfast, I think?
Ireland, yeah, correct.
And then 2015.
Yeah.
So you go Vancouver, New York City, and then Fairfax County?
Yeah, Washington, D.C., yeah. Anywhere from 15 to 20. So some of the World Police Fire games, the 2013 one that we missed in Belfast, Ireland, I don't think they might have had an open division, but they only have maybe 6 teams show up. It's really hard for teams to go there and do that if they're not severely sponsored by some sort of entity, and we weren't. So
I was wondering that. So, well, I mean, all the places you went, minus Vancouver, I guess. But the other ones are on the other side of North America. Are you getting any? Do you get spot? It's all on your dime.
Yeah, we do some fundraising ourselves, so it's back to the old minor hockey days where
work a bingo.
Well, I was going to say car wash, but we wouldn't go that far. We did the old silent auction route, so a bunch of the guys with their connections to
some of the different teams they played for.
Yeah, one of the guys, his old agent was with Mary Lemieux? No, Sidney Crosby at the time, sorry. So we had a signed Sidney Crosby jersey, all that kind of fun stuff, which was hard to get at the time in 2009. So guys would get all those from their resources, and we'd sell that, and that would help us pay our way to get to New York in 2011 as well as Fairfax in 2015. So it cost us a bunch of money. You're there for 2 weeks for the duration of the games, but at the same time it's a combination of the winter and the summer Olympics, so to speak. There's track and field events, there's soccer and football, men's and women's hockey, swimming events, and then all the specific events to some of the professions as well. So there's a firefighter like truck pull. There's a strongest firefighter competition. So it's like the fire fit you'd see on the TV, as well as a more unique one that's like bench press and a lot of the CrossFit stuff you see nowadays. They actually added CrossFit as well. And then the police stuff, they have like canine, so you bring the dogs. There's pistol shooting, rifle shooting, all like TAC team stuff as well. Like it's very unique to the professions, but then it's very unique to all the sports as well. So it's pretty cool going there as an athlete. You get to see all the different things going on. It's pretty wild.
So is there like athletes village?
Yes, there is.
Is there?
Yeah.
Is that where you guys stayed?
We did not stay in the athletes village. We stayed in hotels, but the athletes village is more a consolidation of the host department and a lot of the sponsors for the actual World Police Fire Games. Everybody gets together there for like concerts that are there daily. You're switching patches and t-shirts and seeing things. That's more or less what our athletes villages were for.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So you switched patches. So what was the coolest patch you got?
Ooh, I got a whole box.
Did you?
Yeah, I like that's what I tend to collect now because they take up less real estate than t-shirts. I'd have t-shirts, and the wife would give me a lot of hell for 50 different fire t-shirts that I'd trade with everybody. So patches, the coolest one I got Would probably be some of them from 2011, which was the 10-year anniversary of 9/11. So we were there, and they had some commemorative patches for
And would that be
towers
why?
and stuff. It was pretty wild.
And I don't mean to cut you off, but
No.
that'd be why I read online, and that was the biggest police and fire games. They said 16,000
Yes.
athletes at that games.
Yep. So it's bigger than the Winter Olympics. I think it's
Winter Olympics only.
Winter Olympics is only a couple thousand,
couple
maybe.
thousand,
Yeah.
and actually the
summer is maybe only 10,000.
10,500.
Yeah.
This had 16,000.
Yeah.
I wanted people to think about that for a second. Like,
Oh yeah.
you're in it. Like, what did we say? Winnipeg is hosting this 2023, right?
Winnipeg's got the World Police Fire Games in 2023. Yes.
Imagine 10,000 police/fire people rolling into your city,
Well, you shouldn't tell everybody that, but yeah.
right? Like that's a lot of people rolling in.
Yep. Good for the economy.
Oh, absolutely, right? So so you're playing in a division of 20 teams. Let's call it.
Yep.
That's fair to say.
Yeah. Vancouver. Vancouver. I want to say maybe there was 15. I think there was three divisions. New York, there was about 20 because it was on the East Coast, and there was a lot of American teams there. Not a lot of Canadian teams made the trek. And then in Fairfax, about the same, maybe about 20 teams. Yeah, varying.
So, I got a couple questions here.
Yeah,
Are people paying to get into the games? Or is it just free? You walk in and you're watching.
Athletes get in for free, but no, there is an admission to,
there is an admission,
to get in, for general public.
So then how many people were watching these hockey games?
Vancouver was just prior to the Olympics, so we were testing out a lot of the athletes' accommodations, and a lot of the volunteers for the games were a lot of the volunteers for the World Police Fire Games were for the Olympics as well, so a lot of them were there seeing what was going on. Like 1,000. I remember going to the gold medal game in 2009, and it was the RCMP, which we lost to in the semis.
RCMP, like
Royal Canadian Mounted Police.
but we're talking all of Canada?
They called them the Coast to Coasties, the RCMP Coast to Coasties. So they were in Division 1 because I think RCMP, I don't even know how many members they get to draw from. Like I was saying, they're drawing from tens of thousands of members. So they took the best hockey players from across the country.
I don't even know if that's fair, is it?
Whatever. I mean, we beat them the next year, so that's good. But they were really, really good in 2009. We weren't expecting it. And so, they got them all together. They practiced, I think, only a week before. That was their little mini training camp before the games. We had been together for a month or so before the games, getting ourselves all tuned up and in shape. But the RCMP team from the coast, all across Canada, was pretty cool to play against.
Cool this is. Like this
it's
hard to believe almost, right? Like it's because it just until you told me, I never even heard of this, right?
Not a lot of people have unless you've.
But how does it go unnoticed that 10,000 athletes drop into a city and that isn't talked about more?
Yeah. True. Because it's all the first responders, and you don't want everybody to know that there's tens of thousands of police and firemen taking over your city. It's a unfortunate prime target for terrorism, stuff like that, right? Yes, it's advertised that things are going on, but it's also not as well known or advertised for those reasons, I guess. But yeah. But we sure enjoy it. It's sure a lot of fun for everybody to spend years getting ready for this, and it's every 2 years. So if you don't, it's not like the Olympics where you have to wait 4 years. It's only 2 years. We lost in 2011 to the Russians.
So you made. Well, maybe you should give me. We'll go down the Russian road here in 2 minutes. You got it because I never even thought about who you were playing, but you already brought up the RCMP.
Yeah.
Who were a couple other teams that aren't the Russians who you faced?
I think the Russians were the farthest away team we played against. There was a couple Russian teams.
Were they your typical? I gotta ask. Were they your typical Russians? Like where you just walk in and you're just like
Ivan Drago,
that's right?
Just I will break you. There was a couple of them. 2009, like Vancouver, there wasn't a lot. Like athletes come from all over the world, and I'm sure you looked at your research. for the tens of thousands of athletes that come, there's 50 to 60 countries that are
59 countries
represented.
in New York
So,
City. That's
yeah.
what it said about the biggest one.
It's incredible, and that could be anywhere from just one person who's showing up to do
but
archery or golf.
But that's
to
Olympics too, right? They claim they got 190.
the Jamaican bobsled team shows
that's
up with 4 people.
Right?
Yeah,
and then but they're represented. Whether it's one or they got 200 athletes, still represented.
Yeah.
So yeah.
They're New York. I know there was like a Finnish and Sweden. Finland and Sweden were there. Russian, they more or less would go with like the country teams. There wouldn't be multiples from there until Fairfax in 2015, when I think there was 2, maybe 3 Russian teams. The Swedish, the Finnish were there. The hockey countries, so to speak, right? I mean,
no, that's cool. That's cool.
It was pretty neat to play against. I hadn't played against like those international teams since I was in bantam, so seeing them now as like men, like was like holy crap, and playing against some very good hockey players too.
Yeah. So you through for my listeners, I'll take pictures of them, make sure they're posted on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, but he brought out his medals. So he's got a bronze, a silver, and a gold. And then he brought out his Calgary Fire Department jersey, which is pretty kick-ass. And I'm sitting here going, okay, so you lose a gold medal game to the Russian police department. Russian, what do you call it here? The KGB.
It was the Russian, I think, provincial police that we lost to, is what they called it. And it's not like we looked to make sure they were all legitimate.
Did you look them all up? Did you look any of them up?
So the year we lost in 2011, they had a full line from the KHL that they played against us. And then they were back again in 2015.
Same line from the KHL?
Not those same guys. It was a different team. There was only a handful of the same players. They more or less just consolidated their players together, called themselves the Russian police or Russian firefighters, and sent them away, right?
So you lose the first time.
We lost to the Russians in the gold medal game in New York City 2011. Yeah, 5-4, 5-3. That was heartbreaking. That was... God, we wanted to just beat the piss out of them. They came with, I think, 35 players just in case they had injuries or something like that. So they had 10 extra bodies sitting in the stands. It was so frustrating, and they were so good.
How many guys did you guys go down with?
23, maybe?
Well, you go with a full roster.
Yeah, 2 goalies and a full roster, and every time that I've gone, we've had injuries, so it was good to have those extra bodies to that 7th or 13th forward to step in, right? It's pretty wild to put it all on the line there with the guys, and then to get to work with the guys for the next 10, 20, 30 years is pretty cool. So I see them now at the fire stations or whatever, and you share the nod or the wink, and you reminisce about something you did years ago with them. Is pretty wild. So those fucking Russians. Losing that game really sucked, but we still went out and partied and, blew the roof off New York City.
How many games did you have to play to get there? I'm assuming it was a round robin tournament format.
Yeah, 3 round robin. I think 3 or 4 is what everybody's guaranteed when you pay your entry and you kind of get in. So let's say 4, and then I think we had another 4 to play so 8 like to get to the gold medal game. So 8 is probably what we played over the course of 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Well, 10 days.
Still, that'd be a lot of fun. Every second day you're playing a game.
It was pretty cool. Yeah. To not do the old 2 days, like 1 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon. It was just like 1 a day to kind of keep things going. So you could almost pre-scout if you were watching the game after you. You could kind of see, like, we'd see the Swedes play, or we'd see the Russian, like, we're totally going to match up against these guys.
Yeah. And, so in 2015, you've now been 4 years away from losing in the gold medal game. You pretty much go back to the same area of the country.
Yep.
Right? And
payback time.
How excited were you for that game?
2015 was more meaningful to me. I helped organize the team a little bit more, so getting everybody together and making sure we all got out there appropriately, lodging, stuff like that was I helped out with that, so it meant a lot more to me. I maybe didn't play as much as I wanted to, but I could care less. I was playing my role, and that one meant so much. Playing those Russians again with the new additions to our team that we had, it made all the world, and man,
that I should show you the picture of that. Like our gold, like the smiles on everybody's faces. We all look like a bunch of happy kids winning something. Everybody understood what it meant from the people that were at the games in 2011. Like those stupid Russians, like we should have beat them. I think we got into some penalty trouble. There were some bad calls. Like you could blame it on a million things. But getting, payback, it was 2015 was awesome. That was fun. The wife came out that night too. We partied pretty hard that night.
I was gonna ask, right? I know what a party like after winning just a regular season game is. I know what a party is after winning the first playoff game, maybe the first playoff series.
Yeah.
You just won gold medal against the Russians. Now I know it ain't the Olympics, but dang, like you're talking 10,000 athletes. You're talking top.
It was the top hockey of the tournament.
That's right.
And that gold medal game, it was televised, so all of our department was watching that gold medal game while the guys. It was televised. Yeah, they were streaming it online so they could watch it online. I think I still have copies of it. It was incredible. Guys on our department were watching it while they're like out doing hydrants and inspecting. They're like, man, we were rooting for you guys the whole time. We're getting text messages. So getting back into the room after, we were so happy. And a bunch of the Russians came over and we like switched caps and jerseys and stuff like that. And this big burly Russian comes in and trades almost like a bobby hat like the Brits have, like the Russians have those too. So one of the guys had those for like player of the game. It was hilarious. And after you're just best friends with them, we'd see them out partying then too. But guys wore their medals for the next couple days because it was most of that night for sure. We were so proud of winning that. It was amazing, and that was my first time winning as well too. So I was dang proud. It was awesome.
I was going to ask about the camaraderie because I assume firefighting and the police force for that matter, everybody being together at something like that, the camaraderie would be really cool.
Yep.
I've always enjoyed hockey because that's one of the like key parts of a team, right? Is like that camaraderie, that brotherhood, that kind of.
We were defense partners. You know exactly what it's like. You dig into that corner and a guy hits you. In there as soon as the whistle's blown.
Right. Yeah.
To stand up for you because you're doing the exact same thing for me. It's the same with the firefighting. We trust each other with our lives. I trust that you're going to do the job when I go into the fire, that you're going to give me water and you're going to keep me safe if something happens, just like I would keep you safe. So that camaraderie is what draws so many athletes to, I think, these professions, and it's great to still play the games that we love. As adults now, and the parties after winning that, I mean, it was just, we were acting like a bunch of children, but we were all 30 and 40-year-old men that were like,
won a gold medal. I don't care
bedtime.
I don't care who you're talking to. You win a gold medal at 15 or 45. It still means just. Actually, I was just talking to my oldest brother, who'd be 40, turning 43 this year. She'll be 42. They went to a tournament in Banff with an over 35 or over 40.
Yeah.
The Neverswits out of Lloyd, and they just won that. And he said their captain of their team is 82, I think he said.
Holy cow.
Right? And so when they win the trophy.
This is the one with the buddy I played with.
That's
team,
right.
With
That's right.
Travis Thiessen. Yeah.
And he says after they win it, it's like they won the Stanley Cup. They actually have I'm going to call it the commissioner of the tournament, present the trophy to the captain of the team, so the 82-year-old skates over, grabs it, right? They all go out, right? And I mean, that's freaking awesome.
Oh, so cool.
Right? And I mean, if I'm 82 and I get to go grab a cup wearing the C, I tell you what,
I'd be
that's
down proud
feel
too.
like it's a cup,
heck yeah,
right?
Yeah.
There's only a select. I don't know what the percentage is. It's less than 1% of hockey players ever get to play in the NHL. Something along those lines. And then even less than that get to win the cup, right? So I mean, I don't know. You won a gold medal playing for something that a lot of people will never get an opportunity.
And it's the first time the Calgary Fire Department has ever done that in the Open Division, Open Division 1. So dang.
Have they won it since?
Dang proud. No, we haven't gone to another game since 2015. So
you rode off into the sunset.
Well, yeah, we retired on top. We talked about it in 2017.
Told the Russians, no, we're good.
2017 was supposed to be in Montreal.
they were unfortunately having some union issues with
I read that.
their department. So then Toronto looked to take it over, and Toronto said, yeah, we can't on such short notice. I think it was like 6 months notice, and there's a lot that needs to go into it. So then the Federation, which is in Los Angeles, they stepped up. They're like, oh, we'll take everybody with like 2 months before the games.
Wow.
And so we weren't on the we were behind the 8 ball and a little out of shape. We're like, yeah, we're not going to go to the games. I mean, it would still be a lot of fun, but
Los Angeles would be fun.
Oh, heck yeah. And so 2019 this year's in China, I think.
China.
Yeah. I think it's in Korea. Sorry, where was the Pyeongchang?
Pyeongchang?
I think it's in Korea. I think that's where it is.
That'd be fun.
That would be fun.
I mean, it'd be
and then
a culture shock. Like, it'd be
2021 is somewhere in the UK. I want to say maybe Amsterdam or something like that, which would be a riot. But most likely we won't go until 2023 when it's in Winnipeg. And I see a lot of our team graduating to that over 35, and we let the young guys worry about the open team because
you got 4 years to go, big fella. You better start training right now.
Oh, you betcha. Yeah. So this is me training right now.
Well, we are officially at 1 hour and 51. I know you looked at me when we were 1 hour and 15. You're like,
you're done, aren't you?
No, I'm good.
This is the most fun I've had all week.
Well, I'm glad
I got a 3-month-old for crying out loud.
I'm glad you're enjoying it.
This is awesome.
I've thoroughly enjoyed it as well.
Yeah, I appreciate it very much.
Yeah. Well, okay. So I got. I'll see if I can't come up with a couple. I asked a couple of them already, but the first one I was going to ask is, who's the best player you ever played with or against?
Throughout my whole entire career, I know looking back at a lot of the rosters from my time in Bantam and Midget, it was around the same time as FNUF and a lot of that age range. I can't believe I just said FNUF on this podcast. I'm very sorry about that.
You went down on my
yeah, I know it. Oh, God.
We're going to scrub that from
best player I played with. I know I played summer hockey a year with Cam Ward, and I still talk to him up until he was drafted into the NHL, but then I never talked to him after he won his Stanley Cup in the Conn Smythe, but he was phenomenal goalie.
That's what any Oiler fan should do.
Yeah. He was a good goalie. Ryan Duncan, I mentioned, he was a good hockey player, won the Hobie Baker.
Fair enough.
All that fun stuff.
Here's my next one, and I've waited until
Meow.
1 hour and 52 to get to you.
Hurry up, Meow.
Here's the what-if question. Bob Nicholson gets fired tomorrow. He hasn't actually been fired, folks. Don't go into the streets partying.
It's not going anywhere.
Bob Nicholson gets fired. What if he did? They hire Cowboy to come in. What do you do to turn around the ship in Edmonton?
Oh, my goodness. This is going to take another hour here,
Well,
Newman. Here we go.
You said you wanted to go for 3, so let's just see what you come up with. Because I'm curious. Because right now, I'm a diehard Oiler fan.
I agree.
What they do, it just drives me ballistic.
Well, I think hiring Nicholson was good for that whole Oilers entertainment group. Him going from Hockey Canada into there was great. If you lose him, I don't think that's good for the Oilers. I think that next GM that comes in there to take over hockey operations and all that stuff. I mean, unfortunately, the Craig McTavish, the Kevin Lowe stuff wasn't working out, that old boys club. And it pains me to say that even the hiring of Gretzky as their ambassador, or sorry, that was the ambassador for the NHL, but he was still hired with the Oilers.
Well, Gretzky's been hired. Coffey's been hired. Messier's been hired.
Yep.
So let's just bring back the entire Stanley Cup winning team.
Yeah, it hurts that old boys club is still.
And I honestly,
can't they just stay alumni and still comment from the sidelines, so to speak, and let that? I think hockey is slowly changing, and if they're not involved with it right now while it's changing as those GMs or coaches, I think it's harder for them to understand what's going on with the game. The way that we were talking earlier about the hitting and hitting and fighting being, taken out of the game, they were all for that era. I mean, for crying out loud, McTavish didn't even have a helmet on. Just that big flowing hair. So what do the Oilers do? You get rid of that whole boys club, which I think they have. They're just in titles where maybe they don't make decisions, but
poor Kate's is just throwing money out the window right now, paying all them when you need a good.
Who would you hire as your GM?
I'd like to know what what's it Mark Hunter would do.
Mark Hunter,
the one that got bypassed by Toronto.
Yep.
Like with Kyle Dubas being the youngest GM
in NHL.
history with Toronto, he did a very good job with the Marlies and turned them around with all the analytics and stuff like that. Is that something more teams should take way more seriously? Which I don't know enough about. I fucking hate numbers. Excuse my language. My wife does all the math in our house. Is that a route that you look at for the future because of all the data that's out there now? It's more or less like baseball. I mean, they track everything, shifts, lengths, shots. I mean, all your fitness during the summertime too. Like, you get hit, for crying out loud, it's just a lower body injury because they need to keep it so top secret for the longevity of your career, blah, blah, blah. I mean, it just goes on and on. I would hire somebody current with the game, with that abstract thinking like Dubas. So that's what I'm trying to say is Hunter, maybe one of those good hires and not the old school. I mean, I would love to get Joel Quenneville, who I know was hired by the Panthers, as the next head coach, because Ken Hitchcock sure lit a fire under the guy's ass this year, but you need those new up and comers that can help change that game. But I don't know, is with the generational talent and Connor McDavid, man, I don't want to waste that. And it's been a couple of years now.
Not only Connor McDavid, but I mean, Draisaitl doesn't get enough praise. The guy's a 50-goal scorer, 100-point getter, right?
What a stud, yeah.
Right? Like, I mean, we got two of the best pieces in the NHL.
Yeah.
And
they'll blow it up, I think, every 2 or 3 years if they have to get it right by the time those guys. And which I don't want to happen. They need to. I'd hire Hunter, I would think, right now as your GM. Get him in there to help change the analytics with the better drafting for our later rounds, let alone our wonderful first-round picks. We keep drafting and pissing away and getting rid of.
We don't do a whole lot with those friggin' first rounds.
You keep Nugent Hopkins, you keep Draisaitl, you keep McDavid, and I think you lock up Nurse as well too for long term, because I think he's a stud defenseman for the future, as well as Clefbaum as well, which I think they already have. So like those guys,
I'm gonna hear from Oilers fans, because I got a bunch of them back at Lloyd, and
they don't.
I don't know. Everybody. The thing with the Oilers
I see Nurse as a possible Bufflin, right? When he starts packing on some weight and the way he skates, oh man.
When everything goes right,
everything. Yeah.
Nobody can say boo. But when it is an absolute tire fire, like it is right now, nobody has the right. Because if somebody just knew the answer, they'd walk in and do it.
Yeah.
Or I'd hope they would, right? But that isn't the way it is. So now all of us fans get to sit from the sidelines and hear every rumor about every player and everything else, and you can't decipher what's true, what's not.
You're right.
Who the best player?
There's got to be so much going on behind the scenes that we don't know. Like, why would you trade Taylor Hall? Is he a cancer in the dressing room?
I don't know.
We don't know.
He went on to win a Hart Trophy.
So why he's a winger you needed? So frustrating.
And Dustin, my brother's just gonna laugh at this because he's a big Taylor Hall. We bugged him on the one podcast weeks ago. But you watched Taylor Hall play in New Jersey when he won the Hart Trophy, and I went like, "Who is that player?" Like, he was good in Edmonton. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But the player he was in New Jersey, everything.
They got something out of him.
Oh my god! And you watch. We're talking about Eberle tonight, right? Like, when he plays for Trotz and Islanders, I go like, Like, I remember
there's those coaches that can get that extra whatever out of the players, and they play to that potential. And I think, that's. Like Larry Montoniak did that to me in my last year junior, where I got the most points I ever had as a junior, which it's not about points, but I think I played the best I possibly could. Coaches just have a tendency of doing that. Like, you need a good coach that can reach those athletes, because it's a profession and they're taking it seriously. They're getting paid a lot of money to do it. Yeah. So they should be doing it to the best of their abilities. Yeah. But if you don't have that coach that can communicate with everybody, or the ones that matter the most to bring that together, then you got nothing, right? Bill Peters, who came in with the Calgary Flames, the way that they're playing in the regular season, not the playoffs because they suck right now, but the regular season, they meshed together so well. They played so good. It was like, wow, we didn't anticipate this happening with a new coach and a bunch of new additions, but they did well. The Oilers, they kept the same roster. I don't know.
I hate being on the side, but I'm a diehard fan, and you will never see me taking my jersey off and throwing it on the ice.
I
because
agree with that 100%.
Those SOBs need to be punched right in the face. That is not how you treat the game as a fan.
Yeah. Final question, and we'll flip.
4 times.
We'll flip.
Oh, sorry, you didn't ask a question. My bad.
In your questionnaire, I asked you what the best advice you ever got. I thought maybe we'd end there because I enjoyed what you had to write.
What did
What did you?
For crying out loud.
Oh, I guess I shouldn't say advice. I said your most memorable lesson you ever learned.
I didn't write anything.
Right at the top. No, you didn't write anything for the coolest person you ever influenced your life.
Right. Oh, yeah. Shaun Newman.
Yeah, right.
Because of the podcast.
Yeah,
'cause
okay.
He
Now
came
you're
all
just
the way to
sucking
Calgary, folks. Most memorable lesson. Yeah, you get out of life what you put in. Yeah. Work hard. Working hard will trump everything, for sure.
Yeah, but you didn't read. Come on now.
What?
You said you get out of life what you put in, but accept help.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's a big chunk of it.
Well, of course.
Yeah. But then I can't even spit it out now. Now you got me flustered. But hard
Start
work
again. Start
trumps it all.
again. What does it say?
It says you get out of life what you put in, but accept help. Hard work can trump all, though.
Yep.
And I enjoy that.
Words to live by.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a combination of a bunch of things that I live by. I've learned in my 35 years on this earth that I can't do it all by myself, so I'll happily accept help from my wife when it's involving numbers, my colleagues at work for things I may not know to the best of my abilities, friends or family for the smallest little tidbit of help around the house or with the family or you name it. But still no amount of hard work. If I can put all that hard work in, then it'll trump everything. So yeah,
That's cool.
That's me in a nutshell.
Well, I appreciate you coming on with me. It's been a lot of fun. I really enjoyed this.
Not a problem, Newman. Anytime.
And I hope the listeners enjoyed it as much as I did.
Sorry that it was so long, folks, but
well, you are closing in. I don't know if you're the longest.
We're
yet.
not looking for a record here. It's fine. I've always been short.
You wanted the record. You know you did.
No, I did not. I was just happy to be here.
Okay, well, appreciate you coming on. Thank you, sir. It's
Not
been
a problem,
lot
my
of fun.
friend.
Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. It was a real honor to have Colin on with me. Next week is Dwayne Parlett. Dwayne has got quite the story. He's been all over with hockey. He's born and raised in Hillmont, Saskatchewan, or as he writes it, Tangle Flags County. Played his minor hockey in Lloydminster and Yorkton, Tisdale, Moose Jaw, and then the Prince Albert Mintos. Like, he has been all over the place. He was in the dub with Portland, Prince Albert, and Prince George. And when asked if he's been won anything, he said he played in 4 national hockey championship tournaments and never earned his way onto any team. So I look forward to asking him what he means by that. So tune in next week for Dwayne Parlett. Thanks, guys. Talk to you later.